The white clay debate heads for the Capitol. We have all the reactions from a full day of hearings.
Plus, UNL Chancellor Rodney Green's installation was this morning. Find out what his vision for the future of the university is.
All that plus the latest in weather and sports next on Star City News.
The tragedy surrounding white clay has lasted for decades, but it could end this week. 4 liquor stores sell 3.5 million cans of beer each year to nearby residents of the Pine Ridge Reservation. It has resulted in severe alcoholism, fetal alcohol syndrome, and other problems. It could all end soon, though. Star City's Lucas Bond is live at the Capitol with the details. The Nebraska Crime Commission says black drivers in Nebraska are still getting stopped by police at a more disproportionate rate than other drivers. Black drivers accounted for almost 11% of all car stops by Lincoln police, even though blacks make up only 4% of the Lincoln City's population. Lincoln Public Safety Director Tom Cassidy says reasons for the disparity may be because black drivers accounted for about 6% of traffic accidents in Lincoln. He says neighborhoods in Lincoln that have the most police calls also have higher black populations. The public can view Lincoln traffic stop data at opendata.lincoln.ne.gov. Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts' tax cut proposal is going to full floor debate. The legislature's Revenue Committee passed the legislation by a 6-2 vote yesterday to move it to debate. The package would cut taxes for many of Nebraska's wealthiest and change how counties value agricultural land for tax purposes. It would cost the state up to $458 million annually once fully implemented. Ricketts says the package is great news for growing Nebraska. Critics say, however, that the proposal is fiscally irresponsible and would force cuts to higher education. Payless Shoe Source has filed for bankruptcy but says both Lincoln stores will remain open. The Topeka, Kansas-based retailer released a list of nearly 400 stores it plans to close, just not the 2 Lincoln ones. The 2 Lincoln locations are on North 27th Street near Superior. There's also a location near Gateway Mall. A Payless location in Omaha and another in Bellevue are slated to close. Construction is underway on Facebook's new data center just south of Papillion. Tom Furlong, the vice president of infrastructure for Facebook, says the company wants to move quickly to build the new center. Governor Pete Ricketts said at a Tuesday press conference that this was a deal years in the making. It will be Facebook's 9th data center worldwide and the 6th one in the U.S. The 146-acre campus will boast 2 450,000 square foot buildings at Nebraska Highway 50 and Cape Hart Road. Construction will last about 18 months and should be completed and online by 2020. The U.S. Senate has altered the long-standing practice for confirming Supreme Court justices after Democrats blocked the nomination of Judge Neil Gorsuch.
Is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the nomination of Neil M. Gorsuch of Colorado to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States shall be brought to a close?
To bypass a filibuster by Democrats, GOP Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell invoked the nuclear option today. It changes the number of votes needed to end debate and vote on Gorsuch's nomination from 60 votes to a simple majority of 51. Senate Republicans claim Democrats unfairly tried to block Gorsuch's nomination. Democrats, however, say Gorsuch is too radical for the Supreme Court.
When a nominee doesn't get enough votes for confirmation, the answer is not to change the rules. It's to change the nominee.
There is simply no principal reason, none, to vote no on Judge Gorsuch's nomination. Even less of one to block that vote from occurring at all.
The Senate will likely vote on the actual confirmation of Gorsuch tomorrow afternoon or evening. Welcome back to Star City News. Chances are you didn't feel it, but the Earth received a close call on Tuesday. A 12-foot wide asteroid whipped by Earth at 41,000 miles an hour and came within about 10,000 miles of the planet. And as you see on your screen, the brightest white dash in the photograph is the asteroid. It was picked up by 2 different telescopes. NASA scientists say 15 objects have made a close approach to Earth this year, with this one being the closest. Now, Anthony, scientists also say the asteroid is about the size of a car, and so they named it the GM 2017.
So one that size, you know, that could probably wipe out a few city blocks if you're not too careful.
Yeah, 10,000 miles. It seems like a lot, but in space, that's a close shave. Well,
yeah.
That's going to do it for tonight. For Anthony Ainsley, I'm Tommy Rezac. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night and enjoy your weekend. Good evening and welcome to Star City News. I'm Tommy Rezac.
And I'm Christian Folsom.
The Trump administration's replacement for Obamacare is facing new opposition tonight. That comes on the heels of a federal report that was issued yesterday. Star City News reporter Christian Folsom has more. Road work is set to begin next week at the 27th Street and I-80 interchange. The Nebraska Department of Roads says the project will replace deteriorating concrete on 27th Street. It'll also make I-80 ramp repairs and do some bridge rehabilitation. The I-80 on-ramp at the 27th Street interchange will be closed for 40 days during the project. It's scheduled to reopen in late May. All the repairs are set to begin March 20th and be completed by early fall. 2 store chains are closing their doors in Lincoln soon. Radio Shack will be closing its 2 remaining locations in the capital city as a result of the company's bankruptcy filing last week. Radio Shack has not given any specific dates for closings, but the company says all locations will be closed by the end of March. Omaha-based store chain Gordman's declared bankruptcy on Monday, saying in a news release that its stores will be liquidated. This likely means the end of the century-old retailer, which has 1 location in Lincoln at 27th and Superior, ironically on the same block as Radio Shack. Federal prosecutors have indicted a Lincoln man on child pornography charges. 37-year-old Matthew Rouse, a master sergeant with the Nebraska National Guard, was charged last month. He is accused of meeting a 16-year-old girl at an Omaha hotel and engaging in sexually explicit conduct. The indictment says Rouse videotaped the encounter and then distributed it. He is set to appear in federal court later this week. The Lincoln Children's Zoo opened its doors Saturday, celebrating its 52nd season. The zoo is welcoming a variety of new species this year, including 4 new penguins and a kookaburra. Zoo staff hope to see new offspring, especially from some of the endangered species. The zoo will be open daily through October 16th. The travel bug is biting, and students are getting warned for spring break. The Zika virus has been linked to unusually small heads and brain damage in newborns whose mothers have been infected by the virus. Mosquitoes are carrying the Zika virus in Florida, Texas, Mexico, and over 60 nations worldwide. In order to protect yourself, the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services recommends applying EPA-registered insect repellent, wearing long sleeves, and staying indoors with air conditioning. Well, Christian, who do you have in your bracket this year?
Well, for the men's bracket, I got Duke going all the way and winning it all. What about you?
I got UCLA, Lonzo Ball. I've watched them a lot this year. I think they're really exciting, but I'm just happy basketball's back. First game's tonight. Spring break, all I plan to do is just lay on the couch and watch games uninterrupted.
Something great to do that I try and do every single year, man. It's just a good time, great entertainment.
For sure. Well, up next, we'll tell you what local band is coming to Lincoln soon. You're watching Star City News. Well, this summer, one of Nebraska's biggest bands will play on Lincoln's Centennial Mall. It's the Omaha band 311. The Lincoln on the Streets concert series will feature the 311 band as its headlined act on June 30th. The Rain or Shine concert will be held at Centennial Mall and M Streets. Tickets are $20. 311 got its start in Nebraska and has become a national touring group. 311 is so big now that the band hosts its own Caribbean ship cruises where thousands of fans sail and listen to their performances. Tickets for 311 and the Lincoln on the Streets concert series go on sale March 17th. They can be purchased online at Ticketmaster.com or BourbonTheater.com. A Lincoln man was sentenced to 12 to 24 years in prison today in connection with 2 statutory rape cases. 22-year-old Dennis Tomka pleaded no contest on 2 counts of attempted first-degree sexual assault in February. Police say Tomka and a 16-year-old engaged in sexual acts with 2 different 15-year-olds in January and February of 2016. Tomka will have to register as a sex offender.
Hartman vetoed that decision and said at a March 15th meeting, quote, "I support the Daily Nebraskan and maintain that stance today," end quote. But since the DN has $700,000 in reserves, which is 150% of its fee allocation, Hartman said, quote, "It is for these reasons that I believe the Daily Nebraskan should come in line with the philosophy that this Senate has applied to all the other fee users' fiscal responsibility," end quote. The DN filed a petition to the student court to challenge the constitutionality of Hartman's veto. DN General Manager Dan Chattil says if the veto stands and $20,000 are cut, the consequences could be dire.
His meaning of the veto of $20,000, if that should stand, we will have to figure out how to absorb that into our budget. There's not too much more that we can cut.
The Student Senate voted 21-6 on March 15th to override Hartman's veto, but fell 1 vote short of the 2/3 majority needed to override. Chattil says there's no timetable as to when the court will reach a decision on the veto. For Star City News, I'm Tommy Rezac.